Hey everybody, my name is Dylan Patrick. Welcome to my garage. I'm really excited to get this video going today. It's been a long time coming. A while back, I filled out a sponsorship form for Sumo Springs International, and they sent me some goodies that I get to put on the Tacoma. I got the truck lifted about a year ago. I've been trying to figure out what to do for bump stops for a little bit, and what was going to work best for my style of off-roading. And I was zeroing in on the Sumo Springs to begin with, so it was kind of happy coincidence that they said, hey, we're going to sponsor you and send you some stuff to try out. So while it is a sponsored video, I am going to give you my complete and honest feedback on it. I've been driving the truck for a year with just the stock bump stops, so we're going to show some, get into some before and after footage of all that. But first, let's open up the boxes and see what's in these bad boys, shall we? All right, so this one is going to be, got some swag, some stickers, some Loctite here. Got some instructions. These are always a good thing. And then what do we got here? We got, this looks beefy. By now, you guys have all looked at your stock bump stops on your Tacomas or whatever you're running. This is significant. This is probably twice the size. I'm really excited to see how they perform on the rig. All right, so we got that one. Got the one for the front here. We got another little sticker in here. Bing! What do we got in this one here? Oh, that's a little heavier. All right, so, all right, we got more instructions. Good, good. What else we got? Some hefty duty U-bolts. So this is the U-bolt flip kit. Got all the hardware. Got a couple brackets here. Got some other big brackets here. And got the rear bump stops. Man, look at those things. And just for comparison, you can actually compress these up to 70%, so you shouldn't lose any real major up travel. All right, so as you can see, we've got the front bump stops, some Loctite, got the rear bump stops, got a couple small brackets, a couple large brackets here. And these are basically ready to go. And we're just gonna unscrew the old bump stops, put some Loctite on these bad boys, screw them in, and they should be good to go. Pretty easy install. Next is the rear bump stops. Now, because I'm doing the U-bolt flip, there's a couple more steps involved. Let's go ahead and get the Sumo Springs attached to this smaller bracket. So this bad boy is gonna go right on there like that. We're gonna use some of our blue Loctite here. Set that bad boy in there like so. And we'll go ahead and tighten that down. All right, so next up, guys, what I'm gonna do, now that we've attached the Sumo Spring plate to the Sumo Spring, it's such a great name for these. It looks like something that like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and maybe a Smurf got together and were like, oh, what would we put on our little Smurf mobile? Anyway, so what I'm gonna do with these guys now that we've got them attached is we're gonna go ahead and attach them loosely to this lower plate. And once we get them on the truck, I'll do the final torque. These two bolts on the side, these are flange bolts, so you don't need a washer. They just go right through. And then these nylock nuts go right on the bottom here. Just like that. Once we get it on the truck, these get torqued down to 30 foot-pounds. Boom, there we go. When this goes on, it's gonna go through the axle just like this. You're gonna put a flat washer down, and then you're gonna put these U-bolt nuts down just like that. All right, so before we get the truck pulled in, let's take a look at some footage from last weekend when I took the truck up to Santiago Peak so that we could get some before footage of what the suspension was doing with the stock bump stops.
The next morning.
As you can see, we're on the road here. We're headed to Santiago Peak. So I want to get a good visual idea of what the suspension looks like on the stock bump stops before we install the Sumo Spring. Once we get to the trail, I'll check back in. We're going to air down, and then mostly just for comfort, not really for traction. But, it's always nice to have a little comfy. I got the dog in the back, so it's a little less bouncing around for her. But, all right, we'll see you guys there. All right, what's up guys? We're up here at the trailhead. We're gonna get the tires down to about 18 PSI and get this thing going. All right guys, so I got the action camera under the truck. We're gonna take a look at some various footage of the front and the back. And when we get up to the moguls, I'll set out the phone and we'll get some exterior shots of the truck doing it so we can kind of see where the flex is. So let's get into it. So we are about halfway up Santiago Peak, and up there behind me on that hill is some moguls. So I'm gonna hit that up and see if we can't get this suspension flexing just a little bit. All right guys, so there you have it. We got up the mountain, we got a little flexy, we got a little crazy with the stock bump stops. We're gonna head down the mountain, get to the garage, we'll put on the Sumo Springs and come back up tomorrow, do the same run. All right, what's going on guys? We're under the truck. We're gonna install the first bump stop, but you know, before I do any work on the truck, I don't know about you guys, I always got to turn the hat around backwards.
How's anybody going to know if we're serious if we don't have the hat on backwards? All right, so
the first thing we want to do is remove the old bump stop. Got my blue Loctite. Now on the Tacoma application, all we got to do is unscrew the old one and screw in the new one. There's no bolt, but if you got a different application, you may have to go through the lower control arm and they provide a bolt and all of that. The only thing you'll need are a pair of channel locks. Got those, so let's get into it. I'm just gonna stick the channel locks up in here like so. And looks like we got it free a little bit there. There it comes. All right, she's free. I'm gonna see if I can do it by hand. Yeah, she just rolls right out of there. I found getting the channel locks up in between the little space in between the frame and the metal piece is definitely the way to go. All right, so unscrew this bad boy. All right, we got them out. As you can see, significant difference here. Putting the new one back in, all we do, take a little bit of Loctite here, and we'll just put a little bit here on the ends, and then you just thread it up in there. I guess I don't have enough room. I'm gonna have to jack the truck up a little bit. All right guys, so we jacked the truck up and I think it's gonna be enough here. At least it should be. We're gonna reapply some Loctite. All right. All right, looks like she's going in. And she's good. All right, guys, so there you have it. That's it. Let's get rid of that bad boy. We don't need that anymore. And we'll move on to the other side. I'm not going to show you that because it's the exact same process. You probably will need to jack up the truck, pop it off, unscrew it, screw it back in, a little bit of Loctite, and you're good to go.
72 hours later.
All right, so here we are. Got the truck backed into the garage. We're going to start working on the rear. I had to take a couple of days for work, so I couldn't film it right away after the front install. And while I was kind of prepping to shoot this, I realized that we're definitely going to have to jack the rear of the truck up. The U-bolts have to be cut off for the flip, and it's just going to be a lot easier to torque everything down with the tires off. So I'm going to show you the driver's side. The process is going to be the exact same for the passenger side.
Removal of the rear wheels is not necessary, but makes installation much easier.
That's almost like somebody knew what they were doing. They were trying to tell us the easiest way to do this. Let's get into it. I'm going to break the rear wheels loose. All right, let's go ahead, get the truck jacked up. All right, guys, so now that we got the truck jacked up and the lug nuts loosened, I'm going to go ahead and pop the wheel and tire off and get it out of the way, and then we'll start pulling off the old bump stop and plate and get ready for that new stuff. All right, got the wheel and tire off. Lots more room to work. All right, guys, so first thing we got to do is take off these two U-bolts. Those are torqued from underneath the truck. You're going to need 19mm socket. Out with the old.
It's always got to be one that's stubborn. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a repair, would it?
All right, there she is. This gets hung up on all kinds of stuff. Get that out of there. Get this out of there. So, new one, old one. So next step, we're gonna position this. There she goes. All right, guys, so as you can see, I got the new bump stop kind of in position there. It's pretty close to engaging already, which is kind of what they want. Essentially, what I've read about these things is that they're meant to be kind of a cross between a bump stop and an airbag system. So these will compress past 70%, but you don't want to do it regularly. You want to, limit it to around 70%. If you got to go the occasional, get over an obstacle or whatever, it's not a big deal. I asked them about it because that was one of my concerns, was how much can I articulate the rear suspension without screwing these things up? And they were basically like, as long as you're not doing this every day and compressing it past 70%, these will hold up just fine. So that works perfectly for my style off-roading. Let's get back to the install. We'll get the U-bolts in and wrap this thing up. All right, guys, so got the new U-bolt, got the gold flat washers and black nuts. We're gonna go ahead and add these things on. And as you can see, we're gonna have to cut off quite a bit of these bolts. So that's one of the reasons why pulling the tire, they say, just makes it a lot easier. So they don't tell you in the directions exactly how much of the U-bolts you need to cut off, but I'd say, leaving about a ½ inch or so is probably good. I've got them marked. I'm gonna go ahead and just take them off, cut both U-bolts in the vise, and then bring them back and put them on. It'll be easier. All right, guys, so now that I got these cut, I just by hand kind of ran these nuts over the ends so, it worked the threads back out. We'll go ahead and install this one. All right, let's get this back one in. Looking good. Now that everything is kind of finger tight on these bad boys, I think what I'll do next is, I haven't tightened this down. So these two bolts get torqued to 30 foot-pounds. And then these get torqued to, they say 62 foot-pounds. I'm probably going to do just a little bit more. And then after 250 miles, you need to recheck the torque on these, and then again at 500 and again at 1,000. We've got our 17 millimeter socket and our 15 millimeter wrench. We'll go ahead and get this tightened down. So note to self, probably a lot easier to just torque these to spec before you put them on the truck. That back one's kind of a pain. So that's tight, plates on there. Let's go ahead and torque the main bolts down in an X pattern, and then I'll do the final torque on these. So I've got this set currently to 65 foot-pounds. I'm just gonna go a few over spec. Okay, so that's 65 foot-pounds. All right, let's go ahead and torque this bad boy down. Okay, there's 30. Okay, it's all torqued down. 30 foot-pounds, 65 foot-pounds. Check it after 250 miles. We're all buttoned up, everything's good. Let's go ahead, we'll get the tire back on and mounted, and go to do the other side. I think we can say goodbye to this bad boy. All right, people. That's a wrap on the driver's side. Tomorrow we'll take the truck up Santiago Peak and compare. I can say already, though, the front bump stops have been really great just driving around town. They've taken the edge off of some of the speed bumps and potholes and stuff like that. And it's just a slightly smoother feel in the front end. So if that translates to the rear end, I think my wife's going to be real happy with it. So I'm going to get the passenger side wrapped up. Like I said, it's the exact same process, so I'm not going to bother wasting your time with it. Then after that, get everything torqued back down, and then I'm going to have a beer.
3 weeks later.
What's going on, guys? So we are on the road. Quick little backstory. As a freelancer, I had to take some work kind of immediately after the install was complete for the Sumo Springs. So there's actually been a 2 to 3 week kind of delay here between the install and the final review of them. Santiago Peak, where I was going to take the truck, has been closed in the last 3 weeks. So we've had a lot of rain. I'm actually trying to get this in kind of between storms here. So we are going out to Lytle Creek, California. So it won't be a true kind of, you know, apples to apples comparison in terms of the trail goes, but Lytle Creek's got plenty of rocks and things to kind of see how everything's moving along. What I will say, though, is over the last few weeks, driving the rig with the Sumo Springs on all 4 corners, I really like how it handles on the highway. When you're doing 80 miles an hour down the freeway, the truck just feels a little more planted and in control. There's a little less body roll. It's very slight differences, but it makes for a more enjoyable driving experience, in my opinion. I think these work really well for trucks underweight, even construction rigs. If you guys are out there, you know, you got your toolboxes on and all that stuff. I think they're fantastic for that purpose. Anyway, just wanted to chime in, let you know that we're going to look at some footage on the highway and just see exactly how much they're engaging. I haven't put a camera under there yet, so the differences that I'm feeling might be kind of slight and negligible, but in my opinion, they make a difference, especially when you got some weight on the back. So we'll take a look at some of that and continue on our adventure. All right, guys, so as you can see, the front and the rear are activating really nicely under the truck. That's a little bit of freeway driving as well as parking lot. So low speed, high speed, highway, you know, you can tell that the rear is really working, which is really nice to see. And I could see this benefiting, you know, construction rigs, overlanding rigs, anybody who wants to carry some weight. You know, I think the light airbag alternative to it is really cool, and it's obviously soaking up and taking off the edge of some of these hits. So the front's engaged a little more subtly, but it's definitely noticeable. We're coming up to Lytle Creek soon, and we'll get this thing off-road and start seeing what it does off-road. We are at Lytle Creek, and as you can see, got a little dusting of snow, which is pretty cool. Got the truck aired down to 20 psi, and we're gonna take this thing up the road and check this out. I'm gonna start with the GoPro under the car, looking at the front bump stop, and then we'll switch to the rear after we've gone a little ways, so you can kind of see, you know, everything that's going on. Beautiful, kind of moody day out. I'll flip the camera around and do a quick walkthrough on the truck so you guys kind of know, you know, what I'm running with and all of that. All right, so this is the rig. As you can see, even with the amount of weight that I've got on the back, the truck's sitting pretty level. Got the tires aired down to 18 psi. I messed up earlier and told you 20, but it's actually 18. There's probably, with the Diamondback and the tools that are in the back and the water tank, you're probably looking at probably 300 or so pounds of constant weight on the back. Let me come around the back here. This is the road we're going to be going up. It winds all the way up into the mountains. It's a little easy going right in here, but gets more difficult. So, all right, let's get this thing on the road. What's going on, guys? So we are here at the end of the trail at Lytle Creek, and I gotta say, the Sumo Springs rock. They take just enough edge off, support the truck really nicely. I had a great experience off-road with them. Can't recommend them enough. So check them out online, Super Springs International, Sumo Springs, get you a set. You're a construction worker, you got a work truck, got an off-road rig, got an overland rig, they're gonna work great for most of your needs. I can't really see a scenario where they wouldn't work great. You got to see me beating them around in the snow and the slush and the rocks, so yeah, love them. Check it out. Super Springs International, Sumo Springs, get you a pair. And you know, if you guys have any comments or any questions, or I said something stupid, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time.